Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video, I will show you how to integrate a network or a REST API for a control center widget in native iOS application with Swift. So yeah, let's get started. So firstly, I want to show you the API which I am calling. Now, this is my own API. Don't try to use this API. By the time this tutorial comes out, I will be removing this API completely, so you can use your own API. But the API is pretty simple. So this is the base URL of the API, and every time I hit it, it gives me a random number. So we have this particular key. It will be in JSON format. So every time if I try to refresh here, you can see I'm getting a random number. You can use any type of a REST API, whatever you are feel comfortable with. So if you have your own API, you can use that, or there are free REST APIs available on the web as well, which you can use. So anyways, let's get started. So here I have created a simple application. Now I'm using UIKit. You don't have to use UIKit. You can use Swift UI as well if you want to, because most of the control center widget code will be written in Swift UI, so don't worry about that. Now inside VS Code, I have just opened one of my practice project because I will be copying some code from it. So first, let me so if you see over here, this is all we need to do is we just need to create a control center widget, right? So what we can, so I have already made a tutorial on how to create a control center widget, so I won't go into the depth of it. This is more of calling an network API from control center widget. So all you can do is just click on file, new, target, then just search for widget. Oh sorry, widget. Make sure iOS is selected and search for widget. Here you will get widget extension. Click on next, and here you can just give it name as my iOS widget. Okay, and make sure include control is selected, as well as include configuration app intent is selected as well. You can uncheck include live activity because we are not using that. Then I'll just click on finish, and here I will click on activate. So here you can see it has created the widget for us. Now the next thing which I need to do is I need to create an API service class. So here I will just copy the code. So we need to just create one file inside our widget. So just right click, new empty file, API service.swift. Okay, and now I will just copy paste all the code and then I'll explain it to you. So here you can see we are just importing foundation. Now here this depends what is the response of your own API. So if I like I have shown you, my API only returns random number as the key. That's why here I'm only using random number which is of type int. But if you are getting something else inside your response, you will have to change it over here. Okay, rest most of the code is same. Then here we are creating one singleton of our API service. Here we have just init, just do a private initializer. Then here we create a base URL as well. So here you will have to change it with your own base URL. And here I have created a method called fetch random number. So we are converting this base URL to a proper URL. Then we just use async await. So URL session.share.data, passing our URL. And then once we get the response, we convert it to HTTP URL response. And if the status code is 200, now most of the get API endpoints returns 200, but yeah, just cross check. If you are calling a post API, then I think it would be 201, or sometimes even post calls returns 200 as well. So just be careful with this. And in case of any error, I'm just throwing an error. So here I'm just decoding the response. So here I'm passing this API response which we had over here from our data which we got over here, and then just send that decoded response back. Okay, also here I will just select my app so that it, while running the app, it doesn't just run the widget, it runs the entire app. Then we have to okay, so I will just go to just give me a second. I think we'll have to so this is again my sample project, so don't worry too much about it. So here firstly we will have to create one button. So come over here to my iOS widget control, and at least at the time of me recording this video, there are only two types of widgets, Swift UI widgets, which are supported inside a control center. a control widget toggle or a control widget button. So I will just comment this out. I don't want a control widget toggle, I want a control widget button. So here you can see this is our button, and on click of it we just call this increment intent. Here we are basically, uh, if you see, not really doing much, but we need this particular value. I mean, for a button we need to provide some action, right? So what we can do is we can just create this increment intent file. I'm not really doing anything on this button click as such. I think behind the scenes, given that I have not written my own functionality, it automatically reloads a widget once I click on the button and it makes the API call again. That is my understanding. I could be wrong, but let's see. I'll just create new empty file and name it as increment intent. Now this is just for our button click logic. So I will just come over here, and here you can see I have just created a simple file. The So this is how button clicks works. So suppose if you want to do some kind of a logic on your button click, you will have to write that inside the perform method, but I don't want to do any kind of a logic. So yeah, that's why I have not written anything. You can change this title to whatever you feel like, and we are overriding this perform method from this app intent. Okay, so this is done. Now we require this particular value. So for this particular value, I think, is it getting the value? Okay, so this value is coming from this particular part, right? But we need to tell our provider how to call the API which we have created. So for that, again, sorry about constantly jumping, so we have to create our own custom provider. So here, instead of this particular provider, I will write my own custom provider. Now we'll again have to create a Swift file, I guess. Yeah, so we have to create a Swift file. Again, just right click, a new empty file, my custom provider.swift. You can name it whatever you feel like, and inside there we are basically calling this particular thing. So I'll just paste it over here. And now firstly, whatever is the name of your file, you have to extend it from control value provider. Now this preview value is very important. It depends on what is your, I think it depends on whatever is your return type. So the name is very important. The data type can be anything. I think this data type depends on the data type of this particular method. So again, that is my understanding. So suppose if you are returning string from your API call, this will be string, also this will be string, but do make sure you do not rename this. Keep it as preview value only, and maybe instead of 0 you can write an empty string or empty quotes, whatever you call it. Now we are overriding this current value from this content value provider, and here you can see we are just calling the API and returning back the random number which we get. So hopefully I think that should be it. Let me quickly check. Yeah, also we need to replace this with static content configuration. So just go to your control, and here you can just use static content control configuration. We don't require that app intent one, and that should be about it. So if you want, you can just comment this all code out. We don't really need this, and we don't really need this as well. If you want to keep it, that's fine as well. Now let's just run our application. Now this will take a little bit of time, so let the simulator boot up, and then I'll come back again to show you guys the output. So here is the output. Now our app is blank because we haven't written any code inside our app. So I will just dismiss my app. Okay, and I will just scroll down our control center widget. I'll click on this plus button over here. I'll click on add a control, and here you can see this is my app. So I will just click on this app, and I will just drag and drop it, and here you can see the value is 26. So this 26 value is fetched from our API. Now I can just make this. If I try to click it, here you can see now the value is 0 because that's the random number which we got. I'll try to click it again, value is 36. So clicking on it reloads the widget as well. So 91, 30, again it is 30, now 8, 79. So hopefully you got the point here. Like I mentioned, like I just shown it to you, this is how you can call a network API from a control center widget in native iOS app. Thank you for watching. Bye.